What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky from Video Homicide, and I have a new episode of VHS Collection to get to. But before I get to the movie in question, I have to briefly talk about a movie that I couldn't even survive through. Okay, and that movie is Kiss Me Quick. So here we have one of the Uncle Mike specials from Something Weird Video, which is a company that put out a lot of like rare and obscure movies, like everything from like the H.G. Lewis films to some like Frank and Helen Lauder films, and all the way to like, you know, school scare videos, like where they would try to scare the kids straight from like, you know, driving and drinking and different things like that, drugs and all kinds of stuff. They put out a lot of good stuff. They put out a lot of shit, and this definitely goes into the shit pile. So I like I said, I could not even make it through this movie. It was so horrible. It was basically like a 1964 to be exact, bunch of chicks that are naked, and there's like this space dude that comes from this other planet to study the female species. And it's basically just a lot of naked dancing chicks. Now, I think that's cool and all, but after like 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, are we going to get to something? Because the acting is fucking beyond horrible. The storyline is almost non-existent, and it's just very laughable to the point where like I'm sitting here with my girlfriend, she's painting, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to say about this movie, but I can't take this any longer. So I did the thing that I'm not proud of, and that's turning the movie off before it's over. But it gets to the point with certain things where I'm just like, no, I can't deal with that. And that's something I haven't done in a while. I mean, other than Netflix. I mean, I'm sure tons of people have been watching stuff on Netflix, especially the horror films, and been like, you know what, screw this, man, I'm done, and turn it off. But yeah, it happens to the best of us. But we're going to get into a movie that's a cult classic. A lot of people hold it in high regard. I didn't really know what to expect with this movie other than what's written on the back, and I'll get to that in a second. But the movie in question today is Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. We have Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, aka Don't Open the Window, aka Breakfast at the Manchester Morgue, aka a Spanish title. So this is a Spanish-Italian collaboration film, and it goes like this. The Italians have a knack for ripoffs and gore, and this film is a prime example of both. Taking the premise of Romero's Night of the Living Dead and catapulting it in light years farther might give you an idea of how sick and ultimate Living Dead films get. Don't Open the Window should have been titled Let's See How Sick We Can Get. A scientific device developed to kill insects causes the dead to rise, and of course they only dine on human flesh. A truly horrific cinematic experience starring Raymond Lovelock, Christina Galbo, Arthur Kennedy, Fernando Helbeck, presented in an uncut widescreen edition from Luminous Film and Video Works, produced by Edmardo Amati, director George Grau, writer George Grau, special effects Gianetto De Rossi. Now, I believe Gianetto De Rossi has worked with Fulci. I could be wrong on that, but man, this movie claims to be like a ripoff of Night of the Living Dead. It's not at all. I got very few Nightmare or Night of the Living Dead vibes from this film. I got more kind of like, you know, your European, Italian horror film vibes. Like, matter of fact, if you're a fan or familiar with Luminous Film and Video Works, they usually use a cut or a little scene from this film before they start the feature, and it was cool to finally see that. But other than like Raymond Lovelock? Other than Raymond Lovelock, who was in a movie that I really like called, wow, I can't believe I don't remember what that movie is called, but he's in this really cool movie that's directed by Ruggero Deodato, who's another Italian filmmaker who I love. I think this movie just, it didn't blow me away in the way I thought it was going to be. I'm like looking at the cover for years, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, this movie's probably really fucking crazy. Like, I don't know, man. And I just put it off for so long, but now I'm going through like this, you know, this secondary or the second wind of like wanting to watch all the stuff that I have yet to watch. It didn't really do it for me. I mean, basically the movie is about this man who's driving his motorcycle going to meet his friends, and then there's a woman who's going to see her sister at this old farmhouse. She's staying with her husband who's totally fucked. He's a photographer. I wouldn't say he's totally fucked, but he's kind of keeping her against her will, it would seem, but she's really just a heroin addict. And I don't know if he's trying to like get her off the dope or whatever it is, but anyways, this biker man and this chick going to see her sister, they have an altercation at a gas station, which ends up with them both being in the woman's car driving to their destinations. And along the way, they kind of get lost, and eventually they find where they're trying to go. But in the meantime, there's like this farm, and the guy gets out of the car to go ask for directions. And at this farm, there's this huge machine, and there's these guys working on it, and they're saying, you know, it kills the insects, and this is going to be great. It's the next best thing. Of course, that thing brings back the dead. And from there, it's just sort of a series of like, or for me, it was just literally waiting from kill to kill. Because in Italian films and European films, everyone knows there's a lot of downtime. Most of the times with American films, it's sort of like boom, boom, boom. With Italian, it's like boom, 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 boom. You know, it's all over the place. There's no rhyme or reason in terms of the story unveiling. But within this film, it does redeem itself with the special effects. I wouldn't say that they're the best that I believe Gianetto De Rossi has done. And I hope that I'm thinking about the same person that was responsible for some of the Fulci movies, but there's some decent kills, there's some decent murders. The zombie makeup initially with the first zombie you see, I would say is probably on par with the first zombie you see in Night of the Living Dead, but after that, you don't really get a lot of gore until almost like the end of the second act. That's when you kind of get like some disembowelment and different things like that, and apparently there was a scene cut where like a zombie eats an eyeball, and you can kind of see where that's going to be set up, but then it just cuts. So, you know, with these Italian films, that's sort of what's really good about these like niche Blu-ray DVD companies out there nowadays, that they're getting like the most unrated, uncut version of the film, putting it in like this nice, crisp, pristine format that we can watch. And like, I would way rather have watched this on a Blu-ray, but it's what I have, right? And with that being said, another thing that's really good about, you know, the new, you know, like your Synapse, Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow, Grindhouse, all them, they have so much fucking special features, and there's almost like a film history, you know, richer than film school when it comes to my opinion, because I think that, you know, hearing from the masters themselves, there's nothing better. Even if you have to listen to these guys, like these old Italian dudes, like they're talking in Italian or like very broken English, you're still gonna pick up a lot of cool stuff. And you get the sense that these guys are just a group of kids got together, wanted to make a fucking movie, and they had a good time. I mean, the end of this film, well, I'm kind of going a bit far ahead of myself, but so total fucking spoiler alert right now, but this cop, he ends up shooting the biker, and then he's like, you know, the only thing that would make this better is if he came back to life and I could kill him again. And at the end of the film, the cop goes to his hotel room, and who's waiting for him? The biker. And that's basically the end of the film. And like I said, I had a good time with it when it was good, like when it was rolling, when there was gore, stuff like that. But when it was slow, I felt like it was just a very slow film. But I would recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of your Italian horror films. And if you do watch this film, don't treat it like how I treated Kiss Me Quick. Watch it till the very end, because all the best stuff happens in the end of this movie. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody for watching the video. Check out some more on the channel, subscribe, check out the Teespring account, check out the Facebook page, check out The Wallet, which is our latest short film we put out, and have a lovely day. Adios.